Hi, good afternoon everyone. So I'm Miss Nika Blanca Pihana. You can call me Mampe for short. I will be your teacher for human rights or for peace education. So today I'll be discussing the first topic of peace education regarding to the introductory part of it. So let's begin with the two pictures that I will be showing to you. So as you can see in your screen, there is two pictures. So let's discuss first the first picture. The first picture shows that peace is not only for yourself but also for everyone and for the universe itself. The next picture shows that we don't need to use bombs, guns, or we don't need to be violent to bring peace. Only love, compassion, trust, and respect, you can bring peace. According to Mother Teresa, a quote that according to Mother Teresa. So since we've mentioned the word peace, let's start our discussion by defining what is peace. Peace is a part of differing way of life of many culture. So for those culture, they showed peace by greetings. Like for Jews and Christians, they said peace be unto you. For Muslim, they said assalamu alaikum. And for Greeks, they said arin. They show it by using a greetings. Okay. Peace, actually peace, defining peace is, the word peace is very broad. Peace is both the absence of personal direct violence and the presence of social justice. Meaning, peace can be captured by the idea of negative peace and positive peace. It should be balanced. Negative peace refers to the absence of the war and physical direct violence. It is very contradict or it's very different with the positive peace, because positive peace is defined as a source of our survival with a physical sustenance, health, and wealth. So that is basically the definition of peace. So let's proceed now to the next slide. So let's define, since we already know what is peace, let's define what the meaning of peace education. Let's begin with education. The term education. Education comes from the Latin word educare, to draw or lead out. Peace education draws out from people their instincts to live peacefully with others and emphasizes peaceful values upon which society should be based. Meaning, when we say peace education, it promotes the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to help people prevent conflict occurring, resolve conflict peacefully, or create condition of peace. So take note with that. What is the definition of peace? When we say peace education, it promotes the knowledge of skills, attitudes that help the people prevent conflict occurring, resolve conflict peacefully, or create condition for peace. So peace education also is the process of acquiring the values of the knowledge and developing this attitude. That's why I've said it promotes the knowledge, skills, and attitude, or it develops the attitude, skills, and behavior to live in harmony with oneself, with others, and with natural environment. So the purpose or the main purpose of peace education is about the source of violence in people's life and exploring non-violent ways to deal with the conflict. So peace education seeks to create in human consciousness the knowledge and desire to make the world more peaceful. To achieve this goals will not be easy. So the main purpose of peace education is by providing knowledge about the source of violence in people's lives and exploring non-violent ways to deal with conflict. To be exact, peace education seeks to create in human consciousness the knowledge and desire to make world more peacefully. So that is the main purpose of peace education. So let's proceed to the next slide. So the word peace is actually occur in so many terms. We have in economics, politics, anti-military, law, social harmony. So For the economics, it said that peace is the eradication of poverty. It is the economic well-beingness of people. When we say eradication, it is actually refers to the complete and permanent worldwide reduction, or eradication refers to the reduction to zero. So literally, economics wants to aim a reduction to zero of poverty. That is why, according to economics, peace is the eradication of poverty. So it is the economic also of well-beingness of a people. Aside from economics, we also have in politics. According to politics, peace is outcome of democracy. Peace result from good governance or by power, which is actually correct. Aside from politics, we also have in anti-military. In anti-military, stop war, the word stop war, you can aim the word peace. If you stop the war, there is so-called, or we can achieve a word peace. Okay, a world peace, sorry. So for the next, we have also law. In law, if we have law and order, you can aim peace. If you will follow the law and order, you can achieve peace. And lastly, for social harmony, resolve conflicts between diverse groups, integrate such groups together through fair distribution of justice. So literally, it explains about the fairness of everyone. We can resolve conflict between the diversity of group if we will integrate the diversity, if we will integrate such group together through fair distribution of justice. So social harmony can be achieved in the fairness of distribution of social justice or justice. So that is actually explains the word peace in such a, through the terminology that we have economics, politics, anti-military, law, and social harmony. So let's proceed to the next slide. Aside from that, the word peace is mostly used in narrow sense to mean absence of war. So peace cannot be built as long as violent social structure exists in society, and also frustration leads people to violence. Absence of all such unhelpful factors to a good life can be called negative peace. So as I've said, peace is a very broad word. When we say peace is not only or it is literally not the meaning of by the absence of war, there is so-called peace. Aside from that, there is so much explanation that we will be needing if we will be answering the word peace. So how can you create a peace, or how can you achieve a peace of yourself, of yourself, the others, and the entire people in your surroundings? So it tells that peace is not only by the means of absence of war, or cannot be built as long as the violent social structure exists in society. Peace can be discussed, or peace should be with considering the foundation of it, which is the considering with the nature that considered as a foundation of it. That's it. That is actually peace. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. So basically, there is a basic sources of peace. We have inner peace, social peace, and peace with nature. So let's discuss first what is inner peace. Inner peace is, of course, when we say inner, it is a peace with yourself. One whose mind remains calm in the middle of sorrow, whose thirst for pleasure has altogether disappeared, and who is free from passion, fear, and anger. It's said to have achieved inner peace. For example, harmony and peace with oneself, good health, absence of inner conflicts, joy, sense of freedom, insight, spiritual peace, feeling of kindness, compassion, and content, and of course, appreciation of art. That is basically the definition or the explanation of what is inner peace. So every person, there is so-called a solution how to get an inner peace, right? For example, for me, I can get my inner peace by actually staying calm and think about the solution to my problem, so that I can make my inner peace by staying calm, think and think, not in a sense that you have to think to stress yourself, but in a sense that you have to think of a solution to your problem. So any person can create their inner peace. Of course, you guys also, your solution, how can you create an inner peace? And I will be asking you afterwards, after this discussion. So next slide. If there's an inner peace, of course, there is a social peace. It is a learning to live together. For example, peace between man and man, harmony arising from human relationship at all levels, conflict, compromise and resolution, love, friendship, unity, mutual understanding, acceptance, cooperation, brotherhood, tolerance of differences, democracy, community building, or human rights morality, that are basically explain what is social peace. Social peace is between yourself, or how can you give a conversation or communication with the others, how can you socialize with the others. That is your social peace. If your social peace, or if you communicate to others in a wrong way, so literally you cannot achieve a social peace. Dapat meron siyang harmony, not only harmony for yourself, but also for the others. And always remember that to what? To maintain, not to have conflict with others. That is social peace. You have to communicate, you have to give a conversation with the others, you have to socialize with the others by the means, or by not having a conflict. Because once there is a conflict, you cannot achieve a social peace. In a friendship, of course, we cannot say that a long way of your friendship, may tinatawag tayong lagi kayong magkasundo. Of course, hindi. May mga times that there is so-called misunderstanding. But if you can resolve that misunderstanding agad-agad, meaning there is a strong social peace with your relationship. Aside from friendship, of course, your relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, your relationship with your family. Not all the time you can achieve social peace. Time to time, there is so-called misunderstanding. But if you can resolve that misunderstanding, basically, your relationship has a strong social peace. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. If there is so-called social peace and inner peace, we also have peace with nature. Planet Earth is the cradle of human civilization. Symbolically, she is the Mother Earth. Peace with nature implies stopping the violation of her dignity through environmental and ecological degradation, exploitation, or etc. For example, harmony with natural environment and the Mother Earth. Yes, that is a very good example. So we can have this so-called peace with nature if we respect the nature itself. So we have to respect the nature itself to what? To achieve peace with nature. There is so-called harmony with yourself and with the nature. As we all know, nature is very important, or environment is very important. It is basically connected, or always connected to your daily life, always connected to the living. That is why we have to respect that the Mother Earth are also or the nature are also here in Earth, that basically needs to be respected. If we respect the peace, if we respect the nature, we can achieve the peace. Okay. Not only for yourself, for the others, and of course for the entire universe. That is actually explains why peace is not only on yourself, not only to the others, but also to the universe or the planet. Those persons, living things that is in the planet can be absorbed or can be achieved peace. That is why there are three sources: inner, social, and peace with nature. Okay, let's proceed to the concept of peace. So, there are three concepts of peace. First is peace education is more effective and meaningful when it is adopted according to the social and cultural context and the needs of the country. Next, it should be enriched by its cultural and spiritual values together with the universal human values. And lastly, it should also be globally relevant. So, meaning peace or the concept of peace is societal friendship and harmony in the absence of hostility and violence. In social sense, peace is commonly used to mean a lack of conflict and freedom from fear or violence between individual or group. So that is the basic concept of peace or peace education. Next, it also tells that peace education is an attempt to respond to the problems of conflict and violence on scales ranging from the global and national to the local, personal. It is about exploring ways of creating more just and sustainable future. Peace education also is a holistic. When we say holistic, it embraces the physical, emotional, intellectual, and social growth of a children within the framework. As I've said, peace, or you can achieve peace not only with yourself but also with others. But you can achieve peace by starting with yourself first, by physical, second by emotional, third intellectual, and lastly to socialize to the other, to grow as a human being or to grow yourself with a bigger picture of peace. Okay, so that's it. That is actually the definition of being holistic, of being being your peace as a holistic one. Next, peace education is a skill building. It empowers children to find creative and non-destructive ways to settle conflict and to live in harmony with themselves, others, and their world. Peace building is the task of every human being and challenge of human family. So, aside from being holistic, peace education also is a skill building. It it's it enhance it enhance the creativity of each individual. So that is why peace education is very important for you guys to know how to enhance, how to empower, and how to embrace the physical, emotional, and intellectual and social for you to grow as a human being. Okay, next slide. Peace education is remedial measure to protect children from falling into the ways of violence in society. Yes, knowing peace education is an answer, or is a way to protect children from falling into ways of violence and in society. Why? Because if a certain person or a certain human being know what are those importance, or what are the important of peace education, basically he or she will know that violence is not the answer to achieve a peace. Violence is the contradict of having a peace, or conflict is a contradict of having a peace. It also aims the total development of the child. It tries to include higher human and social values in the mind of the child. Yes, that is actually correct. So that is why I've said that violence is not the same, or violence is not included in the peace education, because it is the contradict part or contradict word by the word peace. If there is a violence or conflict, there is no such thing called peace. Okay, naintindihan? Yes, then next slide. So, inspirable aspects of civilization. No civilization is truly progressive without education, and no education system It is truly civilizing unless it is based on the universal principles of peace. However, the aims and objectives of peace and education is for the families, schools, and communities. It has become increasingly conflicted and violent. So the purpose or the aims of and objectives of peace education is to end the violence by providing knowledge about the source of violence in people's lives and exploring non-violent way to deal with the conflict. So always remember that one, that the aims, or to simplify it, the aims and objectives of peace education is to end the violence. So take note with that word. Next slide, please. Okay, for this slide, it is actually, as I've said a while ago, that peace is divided into two. We have negative peace and positive peace. So let's start discussing the negative peace. For the negative peace, it is an absence of direct physical violence, both macro and micro. Okay, for example, a ceasefire is enacted. That is actually example of negative peace, because it is negative by something undesirable that to be stopped happening. So that would be the example of negative peace. So one of the type of negative peace is direct violence. For example, war, torture, child and human abuse. So it's very different to another type of another division of peace, which is positive peace. Why? Because in positive peace, it has a presence of condition of well-being and just relationship with social and economic, political, and ecological. There are three types of positive peace. We have structural violence, which is example, poverty and hunger. We have social cultural violence. We have, for example, the racism, sexism, religious and intolerance. And lastly, we have ecological violence for pollution, overconsumption, and overconsumption. And what would be the example or the example of positive peace? Okay. So for the positive peace, as I've said, it is defined as more lasting peace that is built on sustainable investment in economic. That is why there is structural, sociocultural, and ecological violence. Okay. So that would be the example of positive peace. If that certain situation it's includes with the structural, social, cultural, and ecological violence, meaning there is so-called positive peace, because it is the condition of the relationship between social, economic, and political and ecological peace. So that would be the end of our discussion for this afternoon. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that if you did not understand the topic, please listen it or watch it again and again and again and again at the time that you can understand the point. Okay, so this would be the first discussion of peace education, which is the history concept of peace education. We will be discussing the next lesson on Saturday or tomorrow by a virtual discussion or pre-recorded discussion. So before we end this, let's have a quote. Peace education is the pedagogical efforts to create a world at peace. By peace, we mean more than the absence of violence or negative peace. Of course, by Johann Galtung. Okay, it literally means that peace education is very important to know, for us to balance everything, for us to know how to deal with the conflict that we have, for us to know how to what we call this, how to solve the different problems that we have. So that is why peace education is very important. So if you have a questions and clarifications, you can free to ask in our GC. Thank you very much, and this is the end of my discussion.